I'm CWO4 Victor Pinion, U.S. Navy retired, telling some stories of my naval career. Well, this one is while I was stationed aboard the USS Midway CV-41, serving as the catapult and rescue gear and visual landing aids maintenance officer. And the ship had been run down, worn out, in bad need of overhaul at the time I reported aboard. And I had been directed by the commanding officer to design and write up, create an incremental overhaul plan and implement it to overhaul all the aircraft launch recovery equipment. Well, thank God for Mr. Richard Schumann, the capsule rep there. We were able to do that. Some other people helped with it. Mr. Schumann and I managed that program. I did the ship's force portion. He did the civilian portion. And we got a good overhaul of the machinery. But I'm working my tail off every day, 7 days a week just about. Very seldom did I get a day off. And my wife noticed that I needed some downtime. And she booked us on the Nico-Nassau overnight tour. The five of us in my family, her and me and our son Ron, Tom, and our daughter Teresa. We all boarded a bus and went on that tour. We visited some sites and saw a lot of things, and we went to a natural hot bath, hot springs thing. It was in the mountains of Japan, and the sulfur springs, it smelled like rotten eggs. Well, so we enjoyed that as much as we could with the stench. I guess the people that work there and live there all the time were accustomed to that. But then we went, saw some more sites, and we visited a emperor's palace. Great big ponderous building, and they had a whole bunch of 300-year-old trees, tall, very tall and straight, and probably about 3 foot diameter. These are huge trees, and the head of some other country had given them to the emperor 300 years ago, and they had planted them about the grounds, and there was, I think, hundreds of them. I don't know how many there were. But we toured the palace. And the entrance to it, I remember they had the three original, as it was explained to us, speak no evil, see no evil, hear no evil monkeys. They were wooden carvings, great big things, about that tall, sitting over there. And so I had no reason to disbelieve they were not the originals, so I did believe it, and still do, I think. But we went into this room, and there was the five of us, and there was three other Americans who were yard workers, civilian workers working on the catapults and rescue gear from North Alameda, California, that had taken that tour. Well, the 8 Americans of us were surrounded by a whole bunch of Japanese in this room. 3 Japanese dressed in rice straw costumes with big long stick with rice straw on the end of it. It'd shake it, and it made a sound, a dried stalk shaking. And they'd say something in Japanese, and the Japanese people in our group surroundings, they would all bow, so we would bow too, bow, 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 and then they said something else, and the people put their hands together. We thought they were applauding. So we started applauding, but it wasn't. They were doing 3 distinct claps, and there was like a big black panther above the big main doorway that, with the acoustics of the room, would echo the noise of the 3 claps. The Japanese were all looking at us and grinning real big, and we got low. We were all embarrassed. But then they let us on and explaining about the palace, and we went. It was like 3 stories tall, I think, and the emperor's sleeping quarters were way up in the top thing, little bitty room. We were surprised at how small it was. But this palace, it was really decorated really nice with bright colored paints and gold leaf paint. We went, there was a whole, I think I was told it was 100 steps going up this hill or mountain, steep thing on the Emperor's grounds. And up on top there was an old tree, a huge ponderous thing. It died many years ago and broke off about 8 or 10 feet high above the ground. But now the texture of the wood was like balsa wood. It was soft, and it was called a money tree, and you were supposed to stick coins into the wood. Well, people have been doing that for many years, and the coins were all jammed together, and you didn't jam a coin in the wood, you jammed it between other coins, you know, and big, lots of coins from every nation on earth probably. And so we all did that, and we went back down that long flight of stairs and continued our tour. Well, we went to this, where we were going to stay overnight, to a Japanese dude ranch that had all kinds of different animals and stuff. They had 50 milk cows that they milked every day, and they served us fresh whole milk, a little glass for each one of us, about 6 ounces. It was just delicious as we got off the bus. Well, we had a little tour of the grounds, and then we went for our evening meal, which was a big round table with chairs, old Western style chairs upholstered with cowhide. And they served this meal. It was about 3 hours long, where you take a bite of whatever it is you're going to eat, thin sliced meat or vegetable, put it on a big dome that had a burner under it, and you'd cook it, and then you'd dip it in sauces and eat it by bite. We had a great time that evening, socializing and eating and stuff. And after that, we went and took a Japanese bath in a great big, like a swimming pool, but men, women, and children all absolutely nude, bathing in the same pond. They had a rope across the middle of it, females on one side, males on the other, but you could see each other. Well, they had women that dashed water on us, you know, with a pan. It's old-fashioned stuff, and they soaked us down and dashed water on us, and then we got in the pool and soaked for a while, and then got out, and then they dashed ice water or cold water on us, and you know. But then they helped dry us off, and then we got dressed in kimonos that they provided, and went out into a great big room with a big roaring fireplace, and they had bottles of Suntory Japanese whiskey up there, and several of us men partook of that. And then we all slept in a big room, all of us, men, women, and children, all together, and on Japanese bedding right on the floor with beanbag pillows that night. And it was a wonderful experience. I needed that break. Thank you, Lynette. You're a wonderful wife. Y'all carry on.